If I may call you the slogans, Alberta media, I would say Madasha Foreign media, which is open media, or open forum in translation, is for and from Somalis. So what do you know about Somali Albertans?
I know a little bit and I need to know more.
Okay.
I'm an East African, but my path was very different. Right? Remember that my parents went to British schools.
Okay.
They were poor,
Yeah.
but they weren't terribly poor. And they came from an area of some stability. In fact, they were much poorer when they came to Canada than they were back in Tanzania. Now, of course, for most Somali Albertans, it's been a very different path. It's been a path that was very difficult at home and has been very difficult here. It's been much more difficult for folks to get ahead economically and for young people to integrate. And I'll tell you, and I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask you if I'm right. What I worry about most is young men. I worry that we're not offering young men the chance to feel like they really belong in the community, the chance that they feel like they can really succeed in the community. And we're seeing this not just Somalis, across a lot of new immigrant communities. We saw it 30 years ago and we're seeing it again. The young men feel hopeless, and this can cause them to get into vulnerable, risky activities, including violence. And that is certainly not how I define the community at all. But I know that mums and dads are worried about this. And I think that these are things that we really have to be very frank in having conversations about, and saying, how is it that Asian Africans like me 40 years ago were able to integrate quite easily, where East Africans today are having a much more difficult path?
And I think the most problem is for that is now a little bit moved away, and people are getting better and better. Generations are improving, but certainly you touched the right thing. Have you seen some Somalis during this campaign?
I'm seeing you.
Okay.
And you know, I will tell you though, that one of the things that has surprised me about this campaign, more than anything else, and I should just point out one thing. I'm so happy to hear you're saying that it's working generation after generation, because that has always been the story of Canada. But in the last, since I became mayor, what I've seen a lot, especially in East African communities, is the beginning of intergenerational poverty, where the kids are not doing better than the parents. And I'm really happy to hear that that's changing back again, because that's been worrying me when I was mayor more than anything. But I'll tell you one really interesting thing about the race, to answer your question.
Okay.
So when I ran for mayor, the crowds that we would draw would be incredibly diverse. And I live in Northeast Calgary, which is incredibly diverse.
Absolutely.
In fact, sometimes I say it's the least diverse part of Calgary, because everyone looks the same, but they're not white. It is incredibly diverse. But as I've been running in the NDP, even as the membership has increased so much by 10 times, I am not seeing the same diversity in the crowds of the people that are coming to me. I'm not seeing as many African people, I'm not seeing as many South Asian people, I'm not seeing as many East Asian people or Latino people. And so for me, that's actually a really interesting challenge, because I wonder if these communities have not really been identifying with getting involved with politics and getting involved with the NDP. So to me, that'll be a huge challenge. Now, the good news is, if I win the leadership, I happen to have a caucus member who knows the community intimately, who was, of course, the director of the Africa Center, the wonderful Sharif Haji. And so I will be leaning on him to make sure that we are really helping people understand that politics is for them. It's not, the government is not something that happens to you, it's something you get to participate in.
Somalians are territorial, so there are 4 candidates running now for the leadership, 2 from Calgary and 2 from Edmonton.
Yes.
Why would the majority
I had to think about that for a second, because we've forgotten where everyone is from.
Why the majority of Somalis who reside here in Edmonton vote someone from southern Alberta?
Stop being territorial. Our territory is Alberta now. But listen, we're standing here and we're recording this on the afternoon of Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And on Game 1, which was the night before last, I had to wear an Edmonton Oilers jersey. It was hard. It was hard. But I am running for Premier of all of Alberta, and we can all get behind the hockey team. So let's put it this way. If I had to wear an Edmonton Oilers jersey, you can vote for someone from Calgary. quite seriously, though.
That's for sure.
Quite serious. Let me answer that question seriously, though, which is we have to build the whole province. And a lot of NDP supporters are saying we need a leader from Calgary because we're strong in Edmonton and we need to be stronger in Calgary. But that's not what it's about. It is about having a vision for the whole province. And the NDP, it is true, has been very focused in Edmonton. And we need to be able to be not just in Edmonton, not just in Calgary, but in every community. You know, in particular, the Premier herself represents the community of Brooks, which is a deeply African community. Has she done a single thing to help the African community there? I don't think so. And I think we need to be able to work to be able to help our brothers and sisters of every background across the whole province.
Finally, a lot of people are saying this between two candidates. I wouldn't discount the other two ones, but
that's interesting you would say that because I don't know who the other one is.
I'm not saying it's two, but a lot of people are saying, why would people choose for Naheed?
I think people will be surprised at the results. My sense is that it's going to look different than most people are suspecting, but we'll see. You know, we don't know how people have voted, but a lot of people have voted, which is great. But ultimately, I stand for a politics and government that is inclusive, that is focused on building a better life for everyone. So, you know, my campaign slogan is for Alberta, for all of us. And I thought that when I wrote that, I would really focus on all of us, as that's what that really means. We have to build a province that works for everyone. But what I've really learned is that politics here in Alberta, everywhere around the world, have devolved over the last decade into a politics that encourages us to be against one another. That anything you get, I lose. And we have to defend every single thing that we need. And that's not what Alberta is about. Alberta has always been built by people who believe that we can expand the economy, that we can expand the welcome, so that every single person who comes here is welcome here, deserves to be safe here, deserves to be prosperous here, deserves to have opportunity for themselves and their kids here. That's what I've always stood for in government. That's what I've always done in public service. That's why I was an educator and a professor for so long. And that is what I stand for. So if we believe in a stronger and better Alberta, I hope that people will support me.
daawadayaal waraysiga aanu la yeelanaynay Naheed Nenshi oo u tartamaya Hogaanka xisbiga ABNDP ee gobolka Alberta halkaas ayaan ku soo gabagabeynaynaa tan iyo kulantadeena dambe ismaqal dambe oo xiiso leh. Mr. Nenshi, thank you very much.
Shukran, thank you.
Thank you.